Now let's get into our best bets on the week. And Amir, last week we were perfect from the field, whether game lines, whether player props, we were perfect from the field. We were 4-0. So with that, we're going to get bigger this week. We're going to do two player props and a game line for you guys at home. The only game that we've missed this year was that Baltimore Buffalo crazy ending that Amir suffered in week number 1. But let's go. My favorite player prop on the week is a guy that not a lot of people are talking about because of his quarterback and his team situation, but I'm going to give him his flowers. Jawan Johnson
Great pick.
to go
Great
over
pick.
3.5 receptions. He's covered this in 4 straight games dating back to last season. And this year, he's had 20 targets and 16 receptions. He can get, or 14 receptions. He can get 4 this week against the Seattle Seahawks. Kittle had 4 in basically the first quarter in week 1. Last week, Jonnu Smith, despite not getting the ball a lot, still managed to get 4 receptions. Jawan has been killing it. He is the focal point of this Kellen Moore offense, and I think he continues this momentum into week number 3. By the way, Spencer Rattler has played way better than expected this year. But Amir, you're also going with a reception line. Which one are you going with?
So right now, I have Keon Coleman over 2.5 receptions. And for my best bets, I try to not do Thursday night games because it's so early in the week. But I just think this spot is way too low. I mean, like last year, Keon Coleman in his first 4 weeks, he had 11 targets. This
Yes.
week, I mean, he has 14 already in his first 2 weeks. I think he's the main guy for them in this offense as far as being a receiver. I think they demand more out of him now. And also too, man, I think this is a game where it's like I think Buffalo blows the water. I think Buffalo scores 35 plus points. And Josh Allen, finally dominates the game with his arm. And I just think Keon Coleman gets fed this game.
Yeah, I mean, I can already see it. Maybe Miami gets a little momentum defensively, and then boom, here's a deep shot to Keon
Yeah.
Coleman as he breaks the game open, or if not, again, has a couple touchdowns. My second favorite player prop on the week is something that's been covered in 4 of the last 5 games, and just like Jawan Johnson, he's been a target monster so far this season. 18 targets, and I'm just betting on the volume at this point. At home against the Chiefs, I'm taking Wan'Dale Robinson to go over 43.5 receiving yards. I couldn't believe this line because last week he had over a buck 20, and the week before he even covered this line despite not having many targets at all. He's in the slot. This is an offense under Brian Daboll that loves those slot receivers. And as we know, Spags is going to focus on Malik Neighbors in that Sunday or that Monday matchup, whatever takes place. I think that's going to lead to more targets for Wan'Dale Robinson. So we just need 1 or 2 big plays, and he can cover this line with ease in that matchup. Now, Amir, what is your last player prop? And we'll get to it, but there is a typo here.
So mine is Lamar Jackson under an interception, and this is a really safe pick. The odds are about when I checked this like a minus 180. I think this is a safe pick to go ahead and just pair with the money line, pair of Jawan Johnson, which I love that pick. I'm
Yes.
still in that pick the second I get off the show, and I'm putting that in. But this is a really safe pick. I think this will be a game where it's like Baltimore they blows the water. I mean they might score 40 points, but I think this is a game where you just see him just dominate with his arm. Derrick Henry dominates on the ground, and I just don't see Detroit even having a chance at even slowing them down.
Yeah. The last time Lamar had an interception at home was week 11 of last year against Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh picked him off twice last year, so they just had his number. But to clarify, before we move on to the game lines, it is under. That was a typo on my end. So under interceptions for Lamar Jackson. Now, let's go to the game lines. And of course, we try and pick the best matchups that aren't necessarily, that have some good value to them. We could just come up here and say Buffalo money line at minus 800. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to get you guys some money if you are straight betting. And to me, I'm going to stick with the Atlanta Falcons. This line opened at minus 1.5 favorites for the Atlanta Falcons. Now it's up to 5.5. I got it at 3, but if you want to take 5.5, I am comfortable with that as well. I'm honestly comfortable up to 6.5 with the Atlanta Falcons on the road versus a Carolina team that has done anything but progress this year outside of Bryce Young. So Atlanta, this momentum, they're one of the hottest teams in the league, and I think they continue that against a divisional foe. Now, Amir, you're going with a team that is actually 0-2 against the spread this year. Luckily for you, you're not going with the spread. You're going straight up as an underdog on the money line. Which team are you going with?
I'm going straight up Texas money line. I love this spot for them. They're facing off against the Jacksonville team who just lost to Jake Browning. I think Jacksonville, they have so many problems on both sides of the ball. And it's just crazy to say that they even look better than last year, because last year they were even worse, but they still just can't compete with Houston. I think Houston's defense is going to absolutely torture Jacksonville's O-line. That honestly, surprisingly, they honestly look a little bit better. I think
Yes.
their offensive line is going to get torched. I think the secondary is going to put Brian Thomas in hell, Travis Hunter in hell. And Brian Thomas, I don't know what's going on with him, but he has been playing terrible, hasn't been blocking, hasn't been catching the ball, terrible effort, hasn't been getting open. And it's like defensively, too. I think this will be a big Nico Collins game, a big time Nick Chubb game. I
Yes.
just think Houston gets on track. And I'm also kind of playing my chances here. I'm like, what's the chances Houston starts the year off 0-3?
Yeah, with D'Amico Ryans being as good of a head coach as he is, I agree with you. I love the money line here for Houston. There's another team in Arizona who I think has been playing really good football outside of the end of that game against Carolina. They're also plus money underdogs. I think you could pair those two. You can go
Yeah.
Arizona and Houston and be pretty happy with the result at the end of Sunday. But Houston is definitely the play that I'm stealing this week. It is going in a lot of these parlays that I'm going to do. But hey, if you're watching this on Thursday, this is the treat that you get. We started this last week, and if Austin Eckler didn't go down with an injury, the play would have hit. But this week, we move to Amir as he's trying to get you guys some better luck. This is strictly a long shot play. This is not something we're counting towards our record. And we are sticking to the Thursday night affair tonight. Amir, what is the long shot parlay that you're putting in for this matchup?
So, I wanted to target plus 400, at least plus 300, but I think this is some severe blowout territory. I want to be a bit safer. So I got Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I got my pick of the week with Keon Coleman, and I got Bills alternate spread -6.5. And I think for Josh Allen, I was looking at a crazy stat where I think, in his career, he's played 14 career games against the Dolphins, and he's covered his line 13 out of 14 games.
Yes.
The Dolphins defense has been terrible. The pass defense has been bad. Like I said earlier, I think this is a game where he actually uses his arm. I mean, because last week against the Jets defense is always going to be somewhat difficult to go ahead and score against, and he has a history of struggling against the Jets in New York. But I think this game is different. He dominates the Dolphins. He's at home. I think he's going to air the ball out a bit. It's going to be a lot of big time deep plays between Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and all these guys. And I think that he covers his line easy.